So part of my responsibility as a health coach is to offer nutritional guidance to my clients. And many times we find ourselves talking about gardening because it's much easier to control what you have growing in your backyard sometimes than it is what's available in the store. So that means you have to understand your soil, understand where your seeds are coming from, and then also making sure you understand the environment that you're in, because where we live now is so different than where we lived before. So we're in our second year of gardening here. We're taking it very slow, trying to learn and absorb everything that we can. Our backyard was nothing but sod when we moved in. It's never been gardened. The water table is not very far below the top of the soil. So it's interesting to see kind of how things are so different here. Bug wise, just again with the heat and humidity here. But it's fun in learning all of this. And then, of course, reaping the rewards later on. So many times the question that I get has to do with how do you even start? How do you know where to go? There's probably a college near you that offers some agricultural classes. And so they, like at Clemson here, they offer a lot of information online about how to start your garden, when to start your seeds, when to transplant to your yard, when to just plant straight into the soil. And so I definitely recommend that you search your colleges nearby and see what they have to offer, because that's a gold mine right there. I have already started some of the seeds indoors. A lot I'll be planting directly into the soil in a couple of weeks. But this year for my garden, we're toning it down a little bit so we have a little more control over what we're doing. But we have a strip on one side of the yard and a strip on the other side of the yard. And it's not a very big yard compared to what we used to have, but we're making the most of it. So on one side, it's all green beans. And that's because I love canning green beans every year so that I have them throughout the year, throughout the winter. And last year I did 2 plantings there, and I think that I made close to 80 quarts, I believe. I can't remember the number now, but it was right around 80 quarts. And they're still in my pantry. So we're still enjoying them even now in the spring. On the other side of my yard, though, we're going to plant turnips, tomatoes, potatoes, squash, bell peppers, carrots, and cauliflower. And then in my containers, I'm just going to put some rosemary, basil, thyme, lettuce, and coleus from my dad's seeds that he harvested from his coleus last year. So that one's very near and dear to my heart. So I'm going to show you how to start your seeds, because that's where everybody that I'm talking to recently is kind of like, how do I even begin? First, you have to know your soil. So again, if you have a college nearby, you can definitely have them test your soil and see where it's needing some extra love and nutrition, and then maybe what you have a little too much of and how to handle that. So if you can get that sample tested, get on that right away, because that makes a big difference in how your vegetables are going to turn out, and your flowers too. So in just a sec, I'm going to show you exactly what I did to get rolling on my seeds. But I got to show you this. This guy is I have 5 of them going right now because we don't need like a crazy amount of squash, right? But this little guy went from seed to this in just a couple of weeks. So isn't he cute? Isn't he cute? We have a grow light in here, and I'll show you that too. My husband built the thing for me, and so it's pretty awesome. And again, it's just a very small amount that we're starting with, and then a lot of it we're planting straight in the backyard. So hang on, and I'll show you how to get that seed started. Okay, so this is, I mean, honestly, about as simple as I get when it comes to starting my garden, because I'm looking forward to the results, and the work I'm not so excited about. So I try to make it as easy as possible on myself to get it done, and then I sit back and I can enjoy the growth. So I keep notes. These are my notes from last year. I keep notes on what I did and how they turned out, and then I set up my list for what I'm going to do this year, which looks very different from last year. So again, that's the list that I went over just a moment ago. And then I pull out my box of everything that I have. I go and buy new seeds if I need them. And I have all my veggie seeds and my flower seeds in here. So I think these are my flowers right here that I might be planting. Definitely sunflowers I'll be planting along the back where little Miss Lily is. And then all my seeds go in here so that I have them in one spot. These are actually carrot seeds that came from a farm that my daughter Ashton worked on. And she harvested these seeds and sent them to me. So that's very exciting. So I'll be growing those again this year. And then here's how I go about doing it. So I get one of these nice large pans and I set my pots. This is an example of the pots that I use. Now over here I use the trays. So either one works out just fine. And everybody has different ways of doing this. So don't come at me if this is like not, you know, your style, but this works great for me. I use the small guys to start with. I go with this seed starting mix and the directions are on the back. It's super simple to do. This stuff is really fine. You put it in the little pot and then you put your little seeds in based on whatever the package says. And then I just take a little plastic spoon and I put a little bit more on the spoon, excuse me, and then I put it right on top of where the seeds are. And then I give them a little bit of water. I mean, it's super basic as that. So, and then remember to label everything because I've definitely made the mistake of not putting the names of whatever, because you can't see the seeds. And even if you saw the seeds, and sometimes they're like the size of a pinhead, you will not know what you're planting. So you gotta wait till they come up. So be sure to label everything. And then when they get, excuse me, to a certain point, then you can transfer them over to these bigger pots here. So this says that they're plantable. I pull them out. I tear the little pot away from the soil, and then I transfer the roots and the plant into this bigger guy here. And then depending on your timing and your weather, if you're not able to put them out in time, then you just go to a bigger pot until you're able to get them out into your soil directly in the yard. So I think that's everything as far as that goes. I put them in here just to keep the dirt off the floor because I want to do everything right where I'm going to be setting it up. And then I take those guys and I put them directly onto a self-watering tray. This is just my preference. This is what my dad taught me to, and it works for me and I love it. It has an opening there on the side, that hole that you can fill up the water in the tray, and then this little pad will soak up the water and then waters your plants from the bottom up. I usually give them a little spritz too sometimes when they're looking dry on the top. So this is actually a setup that my husband built for me. Again, we're keeping our garden pretty low key this year, so I don't need that second tray right now until I start splitting things up and transferring them into bigger pots. So I've already done that with my squash, and then I have my tomatoes, and then I have my cauliflower that's already coming up, and then my peppers are just starting to break ground, and then I have my coleus here too. So once those are pretty established to a certain point, then I'll be able to split them up and then plant them into bigger pots, like I said. So pretty simple. Once I get them onto this tray though, I want to take this clear lid that goes with this little guy down here, and I place the pots directly on the pad, and then I put the plastic lid on top, and that makes that little greenhouse effect. So they get that humidity in there, they continue getting that moisture, and that definitely helps them start to come to life. So the lights here, my grow lights, and the tray, the watering tray here that I have, I got on Amazon. I'll put the link there underneath the video so that you can see. And then on the side, honestly, this is how I label it. So I just put on a sticky note what each thing is. On the back, I did this, the next row, and the front row. So that keeps me with exactly what I have going on. I know what everything is, and I'm ready to transfer, and I think that's everything. So it's not, you know, a crazy setup. It does work really well. It doesn't take but just a couple of minutes to get it going. And I'd love to see what you have going on too in your garden and how you set up your starts. And so share them with me if you can. All right, have an awesome day, you guys. See ya. P.S. Hey, will you guys please like this video and subscribe to my channel? I'd really appreciate it. Okay, have an awesome day. See ya.